Ever since The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's second trailer came out, I've come to notice something peculiar, and I'm sure you've noticed it too. That would be that for a brief period of time in the trailer, you see a bird-like human fly up to another bird-like mechanism. That seems to be the island seen floating above the land in the recent gameplay footage. What has me curious is what species is this creature from? Could it be a whole new race altogether, or does it share its lineage with that of another species? I would like to think that most people are neglecting a simple fact, that the evolution of species in The Legend of Zelda is a common occurrence. For example, if we look at the Koroks in Ocarina of Time, they appear to Link as children, but in Wind Waker, they appear as young saplings that carry on the tradition of planting forests by flying on the wind's breeze. It is important to note that these creatures can be found in Breath of the Wild. Upon finding them, they give you a strange sapling, whose uses are still unknown. It is however possible that these items can be used for synthesis, or for a side quest later in the game. Another interesting change you can find in Wind Waker is the clan that used to be the Zoras, the Rideau Tribe.
When looking at other Zelda games, we found that the Zoras in almost every age are evolving based on the waters they live in. We can see this following along the timeline where the Zora's lineage starts with the Perella, who eventually evolve into the Zora we see in Ocarina of Time. This is where the timeline originally splits, giving us many variants throughout the timeline, such as the River Zora, Sea Zora, and the Rito, who only appear in one timeline. Based on HMK's theory, which basically states that by using the pedestal of time to travel back in time to defeat Demise, you can create a split upon returning to the original timeline. Now, assuming HMK is correct, we can take some examples from the game and say that some species have been forced to evolve, such as the Koroks, who, until now, only had a sapling form in the Wind Waker. I would like to assume that the Zora may have evolved again to match this timeline. Keep in mind that the Zoras could still be in the game as we know them. It has been proven possible for different species of Zoras to exist in one timeline at the same time. For example, the River Zora and the Sea Zora, who can be found in Oracle of Seasons and Ages. It is important to note that these two branches in species were a result of the imprisoning war, where some Zoras had to leave their homeland due to pollution while another group stayed and adapted. Once again, assuming that there is a new split in the timeline, we can find out that an important agreement made between the King of Hyrule and the Zora never happened. As stated in Nintendo's official player's guide for Ocarina of Time from 1998, the Zora served the King of Hyrule by supplying sacred water from their river. The King's Hylian water inspector often needed to cleanse the riverbed of pollutants to help breathe underwater. The Zoras outfitted them with suits made of fish gills, the Zora tunic.
To further back our claims, we can look to Twilight Princess, which takes place in the child timeline. Looking closely at the walls of Castletown, we can find three images, one looking at the Rito people. It is important to note that this is an impossibility due to the fact that the Rito only reside in the Wind Waker, taking place in a different timeline. Now, it could be that Nintendo wanted to add an interesting Easter egg, or the more likely possibility that Nintendo wanted to allude towards Breath of the Wild. As Enuma stated, after playing this game, you may have some "oh I see" moments when playing the upcoming new game. So I'll be glad if you play Twilight Princess HD while waiting in anticipation for the latest title of The Legend of Zelda. While this may be coincidental, I believe it could symbolize more.
If we take a side-by-side comparison between the Rito and this new bird species, we can see the similarities, such as their body structure and bird-like appearances. We can also tell that they may have some connections to the royal family. Based on the bow that the person in the trailer possesses, we can also see that their beaks and eye color are similar. Given that the Zoras seem highly adaptive to their environment, we must take into consideration that due to a dead lifeless sea, the Zoras were forced to evolve into the Rito. Otherwise, they surely would have gone extinct. It is possible that due to Calamity Ganon's influence on the land of Hyrule, that some Zoras had to evolve once again into the Rito. If we look to Wind Waker's backstory, we find the answer. Ganon rose to power and forced the citizens to turn to their gods as their last salvation. The gods then flooded the land, prompting the Zora to evolve. Could Ganon's corruption lead the Zoras to evolve into the Rito once again, or at least a branch of the Zoras to evolve into what we see in the trailer?
There is, however, one slight problem we need to address. What about Valoo, the Great Dragon? As stated in Wind Waker, we of the Rideau Tribe are profoundly connected to the sky. We make our living on the airways. We do so by the graces of the sky spirit Valoo. When our Rito reaches adulthood, he or she journeys to the top of Dragon Roost to receive his scale from the dragon. It is this scale that enables the Rito to grow his or her wings. Well, the answer to this question is simple. Valoo is not the only dragon in The Legend of Zelda. And, in fact, dragons can be seen throughout the timeline, such as in Skyward Sword, where you obtain a similar item to that of the Rito. Farah's Dragon Scale. Although this item is used for Link to swim and eventually reach the Perella, this proves that Baloo is not the only dragon capable of giving scales to provide special abilities, and does suggest that in this timeline, another dragon has taken the place of Baloo.
I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you liked it, give this video a like and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future gaming news, theories, rumors, and discussions. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on how it could be improved. Your feedback is the most important part of bringing the quality of content on this channel to be the best that it can be. I would like to take this time to give a huge thank you to this month's Patreon supporters: Jonathan, The Edge Network, Magic Tech Review, John Frank, and Harris Priest. This video was made possible by supporters on Patreon. If you would also like to support this channel, head over to patreon.com/GameOverJesse where you can support this channel as well. Rewards vary from having your topic featured on a future discussion, seeing videos early, joining as a guest on a video, shoutouts, and having a custom avatar similar to my own drawn of you to match any video game or anime art style that you would like. Mine is of myself as Link, but you could choose to have yours any way that you would like. Finally, I would like to thank my friends CS Guitar 89 and Gnomo Designs for providing the music and artwork for this video.